Sailing through the sea with my megaphone. Landed on an island where someone speaks my language. Even when I whisper, I bring him every shell I found. He puts each to his ear and hears the story in everyone. Oh, you see all the world in color. Oh, you hold dynamic contradictions. Unafraid without a destination. Grounded in a storm. I want to be along for that.
Found somebody who makes me float. Suddenly all the scary things are tiny, and they're miles away. She's looking inside my wrinkled brain, shining a light in every hidden corner. And she sees everything. Oh, you pick up everything around you. Oh, you hold so many things at once. You arrange the pieces into beauty in a breathtaking collage that I want to be a part of. Destiny is made for movies, chances too detached. What I know is I would choose you every time I will. Take my hand,
Hold it tight
we're heading out.
to weave our great big story.
And what sounds good to you?
Let's buy cheap cars and thrifted clothes.
Eat some veggies and some cheesy pizza. And never go camping. Oh, let's always ask the questions. Oh, let's let each other grow. Let's stay present in this together. Choose guts and warmth and play. Get lost along the way. I'll always, always choose you for that.
Hello! Hi, chat! What's up? How's it going? Nice to see ya! I see all kinds of people. I see a Gibby. I see a Shrinkle. I see a Mel! There's a Mel! Otter and T-Based. Hi, everybody! So in this episode of Minecraft, we're not playing Minecraft. I'm kidding. It's not a Minecraft day. It's tomorrow. Today we're doing CripTalk. It's the third episode, and the third in the trilogy is always the best. Is this a trilogy? No, I'm gonna keep going after 3. It's like Star Wars. We're never stopping. Wait, maybe I'll have to do episode -3 next. I think that's how it works. But I'm glad you guys are here. My guest today is Rebekah Taussig. This is her book. Oh, it's backwards. Oh, well. It's awesome. I listened to the audiobook. I didn't read all of it. I did read, like, some of it. But then I found the audiobook, and I could play Minecraft while I did that. So that's actually what I did. So all those diamonds we have on stream, because of this book, But we're gonna bring her out now. I hope you guys have fun. You know, I don't really notifications will be turned off during CripTalk. It's just hard to do both. But I'll thank you all after if anything happens. And yeah, thanks for coming. All right, we're switching. Hi, Rebekah.
Hi, Eric.
How you doing?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty swell, you know. We're just hanging out. We've been talking for like 10 minutes already, chat. So we're done. CripTalk's over. We talked it all out. We figured it out, all the issues, right? Yeah.
Talked about the games,
Yeah.
glasses,
The addictions we have during COVID. Video games.
COVID. Yes, that's right. The Trump checks.
That's
Really
true.
covered our bases.
No, but so I'll be honest. I took a bunch of notes while reading your book or listening to your book, and then I read them today, and they didn't. They were just like angry quotes, but in a good way. And angry with positive passion. You know. I think you know what I mean.
I could totally see what you mean. Actually, yes.
Like,
I feel like that's maybe kind of part of how I wrote it too.
Yeah, and like. I think that's good though. I think it's good that people are angry, you know? Like you should be a little angry about all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like a feeling that's like, how are we not all on the same page about this already? This is so obvious kind of feeling. Maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But we actually met on Instagram, you and I. I think that's true.
Do you remember the beginnings?
No, not at all.
I don't know that I do either.
So I looked up.
I did.
I looked up. I remember I asked you. I used to have this Tumblr. This is how long ago it was, where I was writing all my cripple thoughts down, and it turned into this basically. I feel like, but I wrote one really long article, and I was like, am I the only one that thinks like this? And then I found your Instagram. I think around the same time. And I asked you, like, I didn't know you, but I liked your writing, like, a whole lot. And I asked if you would write an article for it. I think that was, like, really early on.
Yeah. I think...
Did we know each other before that?
I think we maybe did.
Because we did have conversations on Instagram.
Somehow. And I remember writing that because it was, like, a good thing. It was called, like, the Cripple Manifesto.
Yeah.
And I
think I asked you your thoughts on the word cripple.
Yeah. And there was I wrote something in there about like a bonfire and like looking at people's faces in the glow of the bomb. I don't know. I feel like that was like an extended metaphor that maybe should or shouldn't have been there. I don't know.
No, it fit. It was really good. I reread it the other day.
I feel like that was like I hadn't written a ton yet. Like that was one of the things that you were like pushing me to think about things that I hadn't really thought about before. And that was really, it felt really good. I was really glad you asked me to do it. I wonder if I read it. I haven't read it in a long time. I wonder how I would feel about it now.
I wonder
like if I would agree or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like a lot of our thoughts have changed about all this. Like we were talking then so timidly about like the word cripple even, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna start saying it all the time. And
so you had some hesitancy? I don't even remember.
No,
that.
I've said cripple for a long time, but I always thought that my thoughts about being disabled were like, I knew that there were people that didn't like my thoughts about it. That thought it was like, no, you're a little too angry. Or like cripple makes people feel uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, well, that's good then. And then I'm going to keep saying it.
Feel that, yeah.
Yeah, because I already feel uncomfortable, so you should feel it too.
Come into the uncomfortable circle.
Yeah. And that was like, that had to be, I think I looked it up and it was like 2016 or 15.
Really?
I'm gonna look it up.
It had to be before that. 2016 is such a memorable year.
It was.
I feel like
it was 2016.
No, really?
July 2016.
That's the key. It was the summer of 2016.
Yeah, summer. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a different time, wasn't it?
It was.
The before and the after.
Yeah, we were so optimistic.
Oh. Oh, it hurts.
He's out of here.
I
He's gone.
Yeah, no, he is, but we
Yeah,
don't
I
need
know.
it. Do we? Okay, because we could.
There's no rules here. There's no rules. I'm keeping my pants on, so I'm not bringing any terms of service.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Well,
basically it.
freedom.
We can say anything. It doesn't, well, not anything, but
He is gone. He is gone. But it feels like the damage that he's done. Not that not that those things didn't exist before him, but man, he really accelerated some serious damage. That I am like, what do we do now?
yeah.
But anyways,
But I think,
yeah.
but you and I have been on, like different, online things. I was on your book release party. Was that what was?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the launch
and
panel.
and that moment actually made me start doing this because I was like, that was so fun,
It,
and it felt so good, like to
I
talk
didn't
about
know that
things.
that was the seed. I didn't know
I had been like
that.
thinking about it, but I was like, I don't know if there's like if people even want to hear us talk about this stuff, you know?
It
Because
was
it
the
doesn't.
water that fertilized the seed. Oh boy, this is
Yeah,
turning a
but we
weird
went both
metaphor.
ways. I asked you to write the article, and then you got me to do this. You know?
I think that, you were saying earlier, like you felt like the way that you thought about this stuff was upsetting to people.
Yeah,
And I think that it is still, but I think it's like the difference is finding people that are not upset about it, that are like actually really into it,
exactly.
and like join that with you, and think about the world with you in that way. And I agree, like being in that space that we had way back in September, it went by fast, but yeah, that felt so special to be together in that.
Yeah,
um, Even in a virtual room, it was like it it feels different to be in a space with a bunch of people who understand things that like so much of the world doesn't seem to,
yeah.
at least not in the same way. And yeah, I agree.
And I think we grew up so different. Like,
You
so,
and me.
oh, yeah. Like, I grew up an atheist, first of all.
Mm.
I have one older brother, and I've known, I'd started doing wheelchair sports, like, at age 6.
So
So,
already everything that you've said, yes, I grew up the opposite. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, like, our like, very development. Like, from reading
Yeah.
your book, I didn't know that you weren't really around other people with disabilities,
No,
like at
like
all.
never.
Yeah.
No, the most was when I started school, my parents for some reason thought I should take the bus, and like a special short bus came to my
Yeah.
house to pick me up, and I remember being just like, what is going on? Who are these people? Like, what is happening? It was such a strange experience. And then I never rode the bus again. So that was pretty much it for me.
Yeah. I had the same
Yeah.
experience the first time I rode the short bus as
Oh,
well.
really?
Oh
Did you
yeah,
keep riding the short bus? Was that like a part of
I did.
your,
So I went to the same school from kindergarten to 8th grade, and I could
okay.
push there if I wanted to. Like it was like not far away, but I think my mom. I did ride a bus, but it was a big. It was like the regular school bus. They just put a lift on it, which is pretty wild. There was like one or two teachers at the school that cared, like
Hmm.
at all. Like the rest of them were like, we should make sure he can't come to school here.
Oh, okay, sure. Thanks,
Yeah, it was
everybody.
it was.
Wait, but really?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. My mom went to the like a school board meeting right before I was gonna start school, and was like, Eric's coming next year, and the principal was like, no, he's not here.
What?
Yeah,
What? Was this a public school?
mm-hmm. Yeah, very
Oh,
small town.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then when I went to high school, I went to a really big high school because we lived in our town was a village. Like there's a sign that says "entering the village of," and then
That sounds charming. On the surface, that sounds charming. I don't know what's underneath the surface, but that sounds.
it's yeah, and but high school was like huge, and I rode the short bus once to high school, And then I was like, Mom, don't ever make me do that again. That was like...
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt too, as a
Yeah.
6-year-old.
I'm sure.
But so your mom like pushed to get you into the school where the principal said he's not coming here. That's where you ended up going.
Yeah, I think it's more my mom didn't want to homeschool, but I don't think that
Well,
was an
either
option in
way-
1990. You know?
I don't know. I don't know I don't know. But
I don't know.
So what did it feel like for you then to go to that school knowing that they like were actively trying to keep you out?
I don't know if I knew that, like as a little kid.
Oh, you learned. Okay.
Like I think I learned that way later, and I kind of put it together. You know?
Do you think you felt it at all? Like, did you like pick up on that in like that kid way that knows something is?
I was definitely treated different, but like, of course I was. You know, like, like I had to be. But I think the only negative, like, as a really little kid, my funniest like negative memory is there's this girl. We were in kindergarten. I remember this, and she didn't like me because she couldn't see my butt. And that was her legit reason for not liking me.
This is what she said to you?
Yeah, I remember this. I remember who she is. I remember her saying it. I'll always remember it.
I don't know how did that make you feel at the time?
I kind of understood. Because I see everybody's butt, you know?
Yeah. You really have a nice shot of everybody's butt, really.
We all do. It's great, you know?
Yeah. I kind of like that. Like, of all the things to say, like, let's look at this really logically.
Yeah.
I can't see your. And is it fair that I can't see your butt and you can see my butt?
It's true. That's you know, I understand. I understand. We should work on that accessibility. And that's why I started doing burlesque, is because of her. So
we gotta make it fair.
Yeah, so people could see my butt finally, you know.
Level the playing field.
What was it like for school for you though? Like, it seemed that you kind of like went through school very fast in the book, like which made me feel like it was okay.
I talk more about high school in the book than I do about like elementary school, right? So, I grew up in my very little years in Manhattan, Kansas, which is like a really small college town.
Okay.
And I knew all of the kids in my first grade class were like half of them I went to church with, and I knew them all from preschool and preschool. I knew everybody, and they'd kind of grown up with me, and so I was. I think that there was just a little bit more like comfort there.
Yeah, because kids don't know the difference. Little kids don't care.
No. It was really normal. It felt really normal and comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we moved to more of a like suburb of Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And suddenly everybody seemed a lot richer. Yeah. And this, like, there were like tall buildings around us, and everything felt I don't know how much the money part of it had anything to do with it, but I definitely felt like I was like the problem that had showed up, you know, like
oh great, now we have to figure this out.
Yeah, I definitely felt a little bit more like that. And I also like problem maybe to some people, and then to a lot of the kids I also felt like sort of, I think the way I've described it in the past is like this, like the classroom pet, like they were really excited to push me around.
Yeah.
And I actually, when I started at this new school, it's weird because like you're starting at a new school, and like what would a typical kid do to make friends, and what would that look like for a different kid? Yeah. But for me, I made, like, everybody wanted to push me in my chair, and so I decided to like manage the situation, and I created a list, like an actual list, like a handwritten list that I would keep track of.
Did you
and then
charge
people
them?
would be like, I should have.
You should have. You'd be rich.
If I would have had a little bit more foresight, I would have monetized it. But no, I had this list, and so people would say like, can I push you to lunch? And I would say, well, let me check the list. You can push me to lunch on Thursday. And like I did that. I don't know how long, but like that's how I sort of, I don't know, that's sort of, it was a weird feeling because I knew that I had like attention and people were interested in me, but it felt kind of like a weird,
like a novelty.
sort of, yes, like a novelty. Not it was different than the kids that I had left behind.
Yeah.
And that was sort of a shift. And I think but I didn't really know, I mean, like a kid, I didn't know how to make sense of that or the impact that it had on me. I
Yeah.
think part of me was kind of miserable, but I didn't really even know that
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah, for
understand
sure.
why.
But looking back, you can, like, I feel that now. Like, I definitely reflect a lot on, like, I was just a happy-go-lucky kid. I really
Mm-hmm.
was. And I felt like in your book, you were like that, too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of oblivious that we should have been depressed.
Yeah. Hadn't gotten the note yet. Yeah.
And then high school, that's what happened to me. And then high school hit. And it was like,
Mm.
oh, wait, I am depressed. Like, that's what happened to me. And
Yeah. So then did you feel like did you understand it? Did you feel like, oh, like I know why I feel this way?
I think I did because I used to go and do, like, sports. And for, like, 2 weeks during the summer, I would get to see friends. Like, real friends, you know? That, like, and this is before the internet, so, like, literally we wouldn't talk all year long.
Wow.
Like, or, like, maybe write a letter. Like, you know? And
Fold it up, put
yeah,
it in an
fold
envelope,
it
and put a
up,
stamp
you
on
know?
it.
Exactly. And then AOL Instant Messenger happened when I was in high school, and that helped. But then, like, so I'd be, like, really excited for summer, and then it'd be like, oh, wait, I have to go back there. Oh.
So you had you were able to see the contrast between the two experiences and knew what you loved about the one and why this one was lacking.
Yeah, and I think a lot
Kind
of
of.
people, like, I don't know if it was like this for you, but I think a lot of, and people always told me I had a lot of friends in high school. That I had a lot of friends. I was so nice to everyone, and everyone liked me, and I was like, but just because we were nice in class together, like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I didn't go to their parties or, like, be invited to their house afterward. It was like, we were cordial.
Yeah, like what is a friend?
Yeah,
And,
we were
like
work
how are we defining
friends.
friends?
Exactly, yeah.
Did it feel similar to you then? Like that feeling of the novelty or the class pet or like the person that like we were friendly, but I don't actually we're not actually like peers in the same way or like
I was cool. I was a little intoxicated throughout high school. And I actually, this makes me think of, I don't want to say what Instagram account, but I saw a post, and you might have seen it, where somebody talked about playing the Crip card. Well, they said disability card. Do you see this post? Okay. But somebody played it, and they're physically disabled, have been their whole lives, and it was kind of like a lighthearted thing, like, what's a thing you've used a disability card on that was funny? And these people got so upset.
in the comments.
And we're like, this is ableist language, like, I don't get anything from being disabled. And I was like, I mean, I got to meet the Flaming Lips because I'm disabled. Like,
that's something.
Like, I did that. Like, that wouldn't have happened if I weren't disabled. Or like,
I've definitely tried to get out of tickets.
Exactly. It's just like, I think it's not weird, like, but the people in the and they were all people that identify as having a disability, though. And I think
that's interesting.
But the thing I noticed, and I'm not trying to generalize, it wasn't everybody, but the people that agreed used wheelchairs and were, like, visibly physically disabled, and it seemed more that invisible disabilities were very upset about it.
Yes. I feel like that was what I would have predicted that. I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Totally.
And in part, maybe, I wonder if there's a couple of things that are prompting that, because like on the one hand, for people, and maybe this is the invisible disability part too, like people, if you feel like you're constantly trying to communicate to non-disabled people that you need like the access is important.
Yeah.
That maybe it feels like it minimizes that message somehow, like
totally.
or like there is that whole narrative that is very powerful that that like assumes that disabled people are faking it for perks.
For sure.
And that's real too. So I guess it's just like.
But I'm not faking it for perks, you know? I really am there.
Right.
I'm using it for perks.
Right. And I guess that it's like that's the nuance that maybe people are afraid of is going to be lost.
Totally.
Like, will that get misconstrued or.
And I think it was just tough. They were like calling her to like delete it and apologize. And I wrote, I personally couldn't deal with the scrutiny, so I didn't comment. But I wrote them a message and was like, I think it's really unjust what you're getting. And like, I just, you know, I hope you understand why I don't want to comment. And they were like, oh no, I completely understand.
I feel like you need to send me this so I can check it out. I'm very curious now.
Yeah, because it was meant in such a light-hearted way.
Yeah.
They're like, it's an inside joke with my friends and I used to say I could play the cripple card against corporations.
Oh, because they immediately are going to fall over themselves with like guilt and yes.
And they're trying to screw us over every second they get.
It's just when it's, exactly. So like, let me like make you feel uncomfortable and put it in your face.
Yeah.
And watch you scramble.
And I think it's not like playing the card like, oh, please do this. It's like, excuse me, I have this. I get to go do this thing.
There's that scene in Notting Hill where there's that one character that has a wheelchair and she like saves the day for Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've ever seen this.
Oh, that's fine. It's whatever. But Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts movie. But she uses it was one of the first films I ever saw that had a character that used a wheelchair, that it wasn't like the focus of the story and it wasn't sad. And anyways, there's just this one tiny scene. She's like a side character and she gets them into this secret like press only room because she like makes the hotel manager feel guilty that she's in a chair and his building's not accessible.
And that's great.
Like, it's exactly that thing. And in the movie, it is funny. It is lighthearted. I wonder if something about having it on Instagram and having it be public is part of it too. Like if it was just a group of friends who didn't have to worry about people reading it and like taking it to mean that disabled people are faking it.
And what I tried to explain was in the message I sent, and they asked if they could post it, and I was like, yeah. They're like, I'll blur out your name, but like I wrote that people with disabilities come from so many different cultures, like so many different cultures, like, and you talk about in your book, I forget when, but it's different because it's not like we have a heritage we can like go talk to.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
there's nothing there. We can't talk to anyone because, like, your parents will love you and whatever, but they have no idea. Like, mine had no idea. My brother has that first chapter of your book. Oh my god, like talking with your brother about it. I could never talk to my brother about it. He could be here, and I'm gonna feel very uncomfortable.
Really, that's so.
Maybe I don't know that I wouldn't feel uncomfortable.
Wait, but. Okay, but like with your brother, okay, so like this conversation would be really uncomfortable with him, but like do you have closeness in other ways? Or is it like the whole relationship is just weird?
I think we're friends now.
Okay.
Like, since we've gotten older, we became friends.
Not when you were growing up.
It didn't feel like it. Like.
And it's just the two of you?
Yeah. He's 4 years older. And I think like, it's the whole, and like, you know, basic psychology stuff. It's the whole, I got attention. Whether it was wanted or not, you know.
You were the star.
I was the star. I really did not want to be. But he was great. He did sports and was like badass at them, and like we went to all of his games and everything. But you know, like it's tough. You go back and you see what like. We were just people. I don't think you realize anyone else is a person as a little kid.
Oh, no. Definitely. And definitely not your family.
No. Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, my mom is just a lady. Like,
just a lady.
I mean, like, you know what I mean. She's a lady.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of her as, like, my mom. Like, she's a lady. Like,
Well, and we
that
like,
likes
it's
gardening.
like, I think one of the things that's unfair, I know I'm definitely guilty of this, is like needing my parents to be much more than any human is ever capable of being. Being everything, like the parent that has all the wisdom and makes the right choices, and even in the impossible
And they're
situations.
never going to be. Like, no parent, and, like, how, I can't imagine, like, I cannot imagine in the 80s having a child with a disability and being like, okay, we'll figure this out. Like,
No.
I don't
But
even
no,
get
I
that.
can't even imagine having more than one child at all. Like, I just
I can't imagine having one. So
Well,
you're killing it.
No, it's yeah, that's same. I feel that way kind of still. Like, what is happening? Oh boy. But no, my parents. I'm the youngest of six. Like, how did they even have the energy to like get me dressed?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
And then go to doctor's appointments. And
my
like,
parents. Okay, we like lived in the middle of Kansas.
yeah.
My parents had to fly with me as a baby to New York City. They'd never been to New York City before.
Wow.
Like, they'd never even been, and they are taking their little baby to this big hospital and like handing me over, and 5 of their kids are at home.
Yeah.
Just like being split up between grandparents. Like, I'm just so exhausted even just thinking about that flight.
Yeah, for sure.
Let alone anything else.
And I was a big baby about it all. I was a wimp.
Oh, were you?
Oh yeah, I cried. I was so upset. Why are you doing this to me? You know.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But my
little
disability
Eric.
had like a lot of pain and stuff. So like, all of mine was
I
like,
think you had to.
yeah.
I think you had the right to complain.
Yeah.
I
I
think that's
owned
probably
it.
pretty
You know?
good.
I
Yeah,
owned it.
that's good. I did not. I was the opposite, and I kind of wish I would have. I was the like brave champ of the hour, and I didn't do any good. I don't think. I think it would have been a lot better if I had learned how to like grieve and whine and cry. But that's
And
something
I think
that I
I'm
just
probably
like.
saying that too. You know, like, do you ever think about when you're a kid and you're like, what am I imagining how I was and how was I really, you know?
Yes.
I think about that all the
Totally.
time. All the time.
Well, and like the same for me, and then the same for everyone else too. Like, if we could like go back and watch things, you know, like watch the reels
Yeah.
of the memories that we think we have.
Yeah.
Because I have like distinct memories in my head that I could like watch like a movie, and then if we really went back to them.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, that's not how that went.
Yeah, I wonder about that. And that's one of the things that's really weird about writing is I find myself, it's a little concerning to me. I find myself that like once I write about something,
That's how it
and
went.
like it solidifies that in my mind somewhere. Like kind of like it like puts it in a container, and then that's how I always remember it. And it's harder to go back and be like, wait a minute, can I pull that thread a little bit more? Or I don't know. It's a strange feeling.
I think it's like, and I want to ask you, when you talk about like the lady, okay, I'm bad at what chapter it was, but the lady in
Well,
the Christian lady in the coffee shop that wanted to pray for you. We've all been
yeah.
prayed for, you know, against our will. I know for me.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. The worst is when they ask you.
There's a lot of things about it that are troubling.
Yeah.
There are lots of questions that I wish I would ask, and normally I'm just so like baffled and taken off guard that I never say what I wish I would.
It always happens after a long day. Like, it always is. You're like, I'm just tired today.
Or like smack in the middle of like I'm doing 4 things at once, and suddenly like this person is here, and where did you come from, Ethan?
They're the star of their movie, and they want to be, you know, trending on Twitter.
It is so strange though, because it's like, if you feel so moved and compelled, why are you not just over in the corner doing this by yourself right now? What is this theater?
The thing I wrote, I wrote something, and I this is the one thing I thought was witty. I thought, who was she to pray to you? Like, is she the Messiah? Is she some holy lady? That,
Yes.
who is she? She's just some ableist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's what it is, because it's never like, I think I've had, like, my grandparents' preacher or something be like, I'd like to pray for you. And you're like, oh, you're a man of God or whatever that means. I don't believe in it, but, like, okay, like, I respect your authority or whatever. But then, like, some lady out at Walmart, and you're like, no, I just saw you hit your kid. Like, you don't need to pray for me. It's okay.
I don't think I want that exact prayer around
Yeah,
me.
I think I'm okay. It's all right.
One of the ones that makes me the saddest to remember, because I grew up in like a very evangelical family, and like, I'm very aware of like a lot of the rhetoric that is used around prayer, and I feel like I understand. I can feel like I can feel it a little bit, and I
You feel their
anxious.
intention is good.
I don't even know if it's that.
Nice.
I think it's like,
all right.
I think it's like the pressure to be the person who would approach a stranger and pray for them.
Yeah.
Like that will somehow make me a Christian that is
Omega Christian.
worthy. Yeah, like something like that.
I'm getting into heaven for this.
Or like other Christians will look at me and see that I'm like doing I'm making this uncomfortable sacrifices, or I have the faith, and
because they feel like it's uncomfortable for them somehow.
Well, this is the memory that I think of that just makes me feel the most pain, is that I was in a thrift store, and there was like this young teenage girl that came up to me, and she was like really nervous about it. And she was just asked me, like, in the middle of like, I'm like piling sweaters onto my lap at this thrift store, and in that moment I think I maybe had a little bit more oomph that day or something, and I don't know if it was because she was so young and clearly uncomfortable that like her discomfort, I don't know, but it was very easy for me in that moment to be like, no.
Because you were the confident one in the situation, though.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I don't know, but I still think about her sometimes, like her, and then as soon as I said no, she was like, okay, like.
Yeah, and that's nice. Because then you almost feel bad. Like, I've had that. Because then you're like, oh, I should have just let you pray for me. But then the person that you go, no thanks, and they go, but can't I? You're like, you give in to that one. And you have to, because peer pressure and like, and not even peer pressure, but like
social pressure.
You're going to seem like an ungrateful cripple.
Exactly.
Like, what do you have going for you to be ungrateful?
I don't want to be that person today. Like, I don't want to have to be that person. I'd like to be the friendly person, and I'd like to be warm. And
because they've already made a situation happen. And I think about it like just psychology, you're thinking to yourself, even subconsciously, like, okay, so if I say no matter what, they're going to be staring at me for the rest of the time I'm here. So if I say no, they're staring at me like, that's oh. But if I say yeah, like, oh, they were just prayed for.
Yeah, and doesn't it feel a little bit like saying no just like puts a bad taste in the air or something? Like, this is what I'm thinking of. So it's not just prayer, like it's not just prayers, it's also like people who are like really
let me hold your chair.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there was like this really eager, friendly kid that lives across the street from me, teenager, who like when they first moved into the house, he like ran out of his house when I was putting my chair together.
Yeah.
And to ask if he could help me. And that day, for whatever reason, I responded by saying, and I didn't mean to say it harsh, but I was like, do I look like I need help?
Yeah.
I said something like that.
Yeah, because he's just a little human, whatever.
Yes. Do I look like I need help? Like, let's look at this together.
But he was probably just like, can I spin that wheel?
Yeah. Well, to me, it was like, I'm almost done by the time you got out of the house. And so, but it felt like I had somehow like deflated him. Like I felt like somehow I had like ruined the moment for him.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a lot of the dynamic is like, I don't need your help. And also, I hate to be the person that somehow just like has to be, like the angry
Yeah.
cripple, the person who wants to rain on everybody's parade and kill the bad, like kill the good vibes.
But I think that's because society has made it so that to them we're playing supporting roles.
Exactly.
So like it has to. So supporting roles don't have dynamic personalities. It's like either you're a good person or a bad person. Like, and I think part of it, like I don't know, and I've had a lot of these thoughts during COVID, so they're not like I haven't tried them in practice yet because I only interact on the internet.
Same.
but I feel like I don't care anymore. Like I just don't. I don't think I don't think we have to care. Like they don't.
I feel that way sometimes, and then sometimes I feel guilty, and then it feels like it changes. It changes often, and I wonder if I'm moving slowly in a direction where I feel that way more often than not. I used to let people help me more often than I do. I used to like just let them do it because they wanted to, and
yeah. Do you think sometimes I haven't thought through what I'm gonna say, and I really feel like I should.
No, let's do it. Take the dive.
Okay. So like reading your book, like reading it, it's so funny because to certain parts of the world, I'm a cisgendered white man,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's where it ends. That's where my label ends. And I'm like, but all the things like reading about the pool party and hearing all the ladies talk about these things, I'm like, I've had all these things happen to me. Like all of them.
Like which ones?
Like being catcalled.
Like hollered at in the street. Yeah.
Slow down or I'll give you a speeding ticket. Like,
oh yeah,
you know that one.
Oh yeah,
it's so
you need
good.
A horn for that thing. You need I know
a horn for that thing. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like stuff like that, and just like it's just tough. It's tough to hear it, and then I think it's for me. Like I expect it from like middle America white man, but I think if a minority treats me this way, it kind of hurts more in some way, because it's like this happens to you, and it's shitty. So why are you continuing it to other people? It's just such a weird thing to me.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. And okay, like I have like four thoughts that just like are like tumbling over each other.
Yeah.
It is interesting because we're talking about like intersections of lots of identities, and then like maybe people who are not recognizing the significance of disability intersecting in any identity.
I think I think about like when I was doing my SATs, under race I put cripple.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that an impulse decision, or had you like been doing that a bunch?
I had been saying that was my race, and people kept telling me that was wrong. And I was like, but there's no place to write it. Like, because if you look at the demographics, like, that's not who I am, like, at all.
Wait, so what is it that makes you feel like that's not who I am? What is it about that list that's like, that's not who I am?
I think because it implies a definition of power that I don't have. Like, cisgendered white man is like, they have every opportunity they could have in America.
So in some ways, does it feel like it's like almost more important to recognize power or not power, or like how much power or something like that?
I think it is though, isn't it? Right? Like, like I always said, we only have the right to vote because they never thought we would. Like I always
interesting.
Like that's why people just like we weren't going to vote. When were we ever going to go to the polls?
Well, and a lot of people. I mean, that's why the mail-in voting thing is kind of an interesting part of this election. I mean, I've been voting mail-in for like 8 years.
Nice.
But okay. But this is the other thing that's interesting, and something that I've been trying to grapple with as well, because because it's weird because it's not just power and not power. Like I feel
Yeah.
like in some ways it is. In some ways it's like it's too complicated of a mechanism to make power or not power, because
Yeah.
I know that there are ways. I know that there are ways that, and I think I talk about this at the beginning of the book. Like there are a lot of things about my body that do gather power around
Totally. Yeah.
it. And so, and in some ways I almost feel like I'm not, this is I think something that a lot of people grapple with, but like in some ways for me I feel like I'm not like disabled enough in order to like complain about anything, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
I mean it's a weird thing because I'm like actually like the standard bearer of what a disabled person is supposed to look like, which is just the wheelchair.
Yeah.
But so it is tricky. It's complicated because it's kind of like a back and forth, I think, a little bit. I don't know if this is how you feel about it, but for me it's like it's this back and forth push of like having power and not having power, and not being sure how to represent that or communicate that or be seen with both.
For sure. Because it is that. It is that, for sure. Like, there are plenty of people, like, I think did you ever hear the phrase growing up, there's plenty of kids who are soft than you. Like, that was the thing.
There are plenty of kids who are what?
Like, worse off than you.
Oh, worse off than you.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I remember hearing that, and it's like, why are we thinking about this in such a negative way? Like, I don't know. It's just so interesting. It's just
well, and also like that, and also when you think about it that way, when you frame it that way, it's like what is useful about that?
Exactly.
Why is that a useful way to think about things?
And I think what I was trying to say earlier, it's more like to me, disability is not even part. Like when I'm identified as like a cisgender white man, it's like disability is not even in that conversation.
Right.
Like it's rarely in the conversation. Like
yes, exactly.
I've never heard a presidential candidate talk about it till this year. So
wait, did Biden oh, he did.
It is
he did. He mentioned it in the speech.
Yeah, it was like the first time.
You're right.
And then CNN said hashtag #CripTheVote.
That's wild to me.
Yeah, he was like hashtag #CripTheVote on Twitter, and I was like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yes.
He said Crip. That's pretty good.
Is it Crip Camp? What's making the difference? Like, why? That's something that's been really interesting for me to be thinking about lately, because I read Judy Human's book. Did you read the Human Perspective?
I gotta get it.
Is that what it's called? It's good.
It's great.
Good. But one thing, and she's awesome. And one of the things that was really striking to me when I read the book was thinking like, okay, Judy Human in a lot of ways is like the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah.
And she has been saying things. She has been saying the things that we're saying right now.
Yeah.
Since the 50s.
Yep.
Like why? It's interesting to me that like, and then when people read my book, and people who are even, I think, like would fancy themselves like very inclusivity minded, like people who are interested in conversations about equality and inclusion are like, I've never heard of these ideas before. And I'm like, how?
Yeah,
like how? Yeah. Why?
Because they're just reading academic books. Maybe. I don't know. They're looking at it from a medical standard. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I think COVID changed a lot. Because I think I said it on your thing where, like, I feel like everything going online even the playing field a little bit.
So do you feel like moving forward, because I'm feeling two things at once, which is that it did open things up and made some things so much more accessible that weren't.
Yeah.
And then also there's all this like really disturbing, troubling disregard for complicated bodies.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And horrifying discussions of like quality of life and what kinds of people are worth saving.
Yeah.
And so it's like those things are happening at the same time in a way that's very confusing.
It's very confusing.
Yes.
I
What
can
do
go
we do
so
with
many
that?
places online, but I can't leave my house.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
because there's a guy that wants to walk by with the Confederate flag without a mask or whatever. Like,
Yes. Or like, I'm so baffled. I mean, like, I don't understand the people who are saying, well, if you're high risk, just stay home. And then everyone else can just go about normal life. It's like, what do you think that like, do you understand that like your child's teacher is high risk?
Yeah.
Like you have doctors that are high risk. Do you
Yeah.
even know what high risk means? Like
yeah.
every other person in the world has and also like, why it's just overwhelming.
It shows you how little people love their grandmas.
That is another thing that's baffling to me about it, because it's like, it's not even like this imaginary disabled person. It's like literally your family.
Yeah. It's
This
very
is
weird.
very deeply rooted. Like,
Yeah.
it's troubling. It's really troubling. So what do you think when things get safer again? What do you think what will be lasting in terms of like the way that the pandemic changes us, do you think?
I think I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm excited for sushi
Me
though.
too.
But but no handshakes.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for a lot of things.
A friend said no handshakes probably. I hope people. Yeah, we do a lot of really good. I realize how many gross things I did in life. Like just
Oh,
reckless.
like what?
Like just like I don't know. Like even thinking about like how much you drink from somebody else's glass. Or like
Or how infrequently I actually washed my hands in the
I
scheme of
never
things.
washed my hands ever.
Yeah. I think I just did not really think about it that much.
I think
just-
for me I thought about it consciously for a while and I was like literally my hands are wet and then I'm going to push
Yeah.
and then everything's going to stick to them and they're going to be gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Or how much I touch my face,
Yeah. I do touch my face a lot.
my mouth. I just always on like all over. Like, what is that about? I don't know.
Yeah, and then I think like yeah, cheek kisses somebody in chat said. Like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be good to stop.
Cheek kisses.
You never know, but like unwanted, you know? Like have you ever had
Yeah.
a stranger cheek kiss you? It's
I
weird.
don't think so. I don't know. Maybe people aren't bending down to me very much. I don't know. I'm like, cheek kisses. What a thought.
I think
don't
it might
know.
be I think I definitely get things cuz I'm smaller too.
Oh, interesting.
And like they bend down and
Pats. Do you get pats on the head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
I flipped
I
out on
wonder-
somebody like a year ago about it. I like
Oh,
lost
really?
it. I don't know why, but I just did. I know why, obviously, but like it's just like the last straw of the day or something. It's like don't
Yeah.
touch me.
That's enough of that. Don't do that to anyone else ever again in your life.
Yeah.
One thing that I am very curious about
Mm-hmm.
is how workplaces, like I think that COVID really highlighted how completely ridiculous a lot of our ideas about work are.
Yeah, and there's no way you could work from home. There's no way it's
Oh, yeah.
possible.
Well, like everything would just fall apart. Like
Yeah.
who would hold you accountable for working? And
Yeah.
and just thinking about like how that was just blown up immediately. Like, oh my goodness, look at all these people working from home.
Yeah.
And like things are still coming along. That to me, and also just like the rigidity of the idea that work needs to happen in this one location. It needs to happen in these very specific hours. And I understand that like there's so many different kinds of work, and
Yeah.
some work does need to happen in a specific location, but there's a lot of ways in which we've created this rigidity and
Yeah.
insisted that it needed to be in place for a lot more people than it needs to be.
Yeah. I think with school even. Like,
Yeah.
especially when I was in college, I didn't do that well. And some of that was because I didn't go to class. Like, especially morning classes. But
Sure.
but my college took attendance. So they would give you points off for not going.
I've heard of I think that's a lot of colleges do that.
It's so,
Eric.
and my brother was like, "What do you mean? Like, I never went to class. If it's like an
Oh,
English,"
really?
he was like, "If it's an English class, just read the book, come and take the test." Like, I was like,
You
"Yeah."
know, when
I tried that.
I
They didn't
taught
like
at
it.
the college level, I am guilty of all of the people in our department took attendance, and it was like you could only miss so many classes before you it like doctor grade. And I
Mm.
wonder about that now. Yeah.
Because
I
I didn't
wonder
go
about
because I
that.
was in pain. Mornings are tough for me. Like, mornings
Yeah.
are, I'm just hurting.
So yeah, so that's the thing. I think that it's another thing that's been opened up is like I think it's anything. It's school, it's work, it's anything that we've thought needed to happen at the same time in the same place. Um, and it's like we've like cracked that open in a way that can be more flexible.
Yeah.
And I do feel conflicted about that because in some ways I miss being together in a room all together.
Yeah, yeah,
But
in
it
some
seems
ways, for sure.
yeah, but it seems like that doesn't have to be as I don't know, like there's room to play with it a lot more than we did in the past. And I hope we continue to. I
I
hope that
think there
that's
can be a
something we hold
blend
on
of
to.
both. Like I was saying, I would love to do another tour and come to Kansas City, but I would love to live stream it as well.
100%. Don't you think? I think that at the very least, like everything that's in person should always be live
There's
streamed now,
no
just like
reason we
as
can't do it.
default.
There's no
Mm-mm.
reason. And like,
No, and just suddenly everyone in the world can be there. Why would you not do that?
mm-hmm. Imagine if everybody was at that show in Kansas City.
Oh, but see, there is something special that I get to be like, no, that was just a memory that only the people in the room get to hold on to in a very selfish way. It makes it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's our
But
selfishness. That was a fun night. So we were talking
completely.
about when Mel and I did a solo Velvet Crayon tour, just her and I in our van in our land sub, and we went to Kansas City and we got to meet Rebekah and Micah, and we had dinner, and then we went.
Lulu's.
Yeah, it was so good. And then we went. It was so MTV Unplugged. They had messaged me during the day, and they're like, "We were thinking of setting up with some candles," and I was like, "Yes, yes, please do."
Oh, it was really fun. It was really, really fun. That was
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows I've ever been to ever.
That was, I think, on my list of favorite show on that tour. It was so fun because it was such a different
What?
atmosphere.
Yeah, what made it so special to you? Because you went to all kinds of cool places.
I
Like,
think
what stood out to you?
I think it wasn't a bar. It was like people went there specifically to see this show,
Hmm.
and that was cool. And I think just people there, like people were into it. Maybe it was just like the right night and the right people, and it
Hmm.
looked like an MTV Unplugged, and that made me nostalgic. and
Hmm.
and yeah, no, I was happy you were there. I'm always happy when I know people there. I think
Hmm.
it's just fun. Like I like playing songs for my friends if they want to hear them.
So when you were like, how many places did you go to on that tour?
7, 8, maybe,
So of the wow, that is very cool that you guys did that
maybe
together.
Mel would know better than me. Probably, I don't.
So of all the places that you went to, like how many of those places did you know someone
Like
there?
I think everywhere we knew somebody. Like there were cool shows too. We had a really cool show in Pittsburgh, but like nobody came. But it was like so cool. It was really
What
fun.
made it so cool?
This band that opened was like really weird and awesome, and I really enjoyed it. Um, yeah. Then there's places I go all the time, So
Mm-hmm.
like maybe I see those people more or something. Yeah, Tommy
So are
Amoeba.
you gonna do the like when things open back up? Are you gonna do another tour? Is that happening?
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm
Oh, bring
not. I've
Otto.
decided we're not gonna. I'm not touring as much as I used to. I'm definitely cutting
Okay.
back. I really enjoy doing Twitch, uh, and I get to sit in PJs in a room in my house. and I can go pee in my own toilet.
That is so nice.
Yeah, and I think it's fun, but I definitely want to see friends, and yeah, we want to come meet Otto for sure.
Oh my goodness.
And
When is?
I don't know. We still got like what, 12 more months or something? Who knows?
I was just gonna say, is he gonna be like Is he gonna be
like
13 by
yeah,
then?
he's gonna
I
be in
really hope
college.
not.
Are we looking at colleges
Please.
out here? No.
I don't want him to ever be in. I mean, I don't want him to ever be the age of a person who goes to college. I don't think. I'm very scared of that.
He'll go to college on the moon.
Oh my goodness. Okay, maybe that'd be okay.
You could go visit him
could,
at the moon.
If he could FaceTime me the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't want to be one of those moms that is like hyper clingy and can't go a day without talking to her perfect baby boy. I really don't want to be that mom. I'm worried.
But you got a lot going on. I think you have your own stuff going on. Like you're gonna write more, right? You're not done writing.
Oh no! Yes, of course.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Yes, I do.
You're gonna have more books to write, and you're gonna give a TED Talk. You're gonna give a TED Talk. Come on.
Yeah, I hope that there are more things coming up. You know, it's a weird time for me. I need to go to therapy. It's a weird time for me.
I think we all do. I think we all need to.
Yeah. I've known for a long time. I should be Zooming my therapist, but it's a weird time because I've been teaching since 2011.
Wow.
And this is my first fall when I did not go back to teaching.
Yeah.
And so it's like this really open space where it's like, so I didn't go back to teaching because I knew the book was coming out and I wanted to be open and available to whatever projects would come after that.
Mm-hmm.
And also Otto was coming. And also my body was just
you're beat
wearing
up.
Down.
Yeah.
I was beat up. My body was beat up from just the rigor and
that makes me think of there's a part in your book where you're talking about I think I misunderstood, but you went to a conference of all these power women.
Yeah.
And they're like, when do you find time to rest? And they're like, well, I just don't, and I think as people with disabilities, we even have to be like that, because if we're gonna succeed anywhere, we have to work our asses off. Constantly.
Yeah, I think that was a huge part of why I burned out so fast at my job, was because it felt like if you're going to hire the disabled teacher, I'm never going to give you any reason to think to question that was a bad decision. I'm going to be super human power strength so that you can't distinguish me from the strongest person who's never in pain and never gets sick and never needs anything, which is ridiculous, because that person doesn't even really exist anyways.
No, and I think I was thinking about what you were saying earlier, where Judy's been saying this stuff forever.
Yeah.
And maybe, and I wrote this down, I was scrolling through the notes, I wrote one quote, is you're looking at the kids dancing in at the fundraiser, the crippled kids dancing, and you're like, but I lacked the language to express the harm at the time. And maybe Judy was saying this, but nobody understood it because there was no language for it. Ableism is a very new term.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's when I first heard it, I was in my late 20s.
Yeah.
And I Googled it, and I feel Google gives you the most searched for whatever. And it was the second thing was ableism doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that would have been in 2014 maybe. And I think even in that time, things have changed a lot. I think even in terms of people being familiar with that word.
Yeah, and I think part of that is Mel and I were talking about it, in that I think the more doctors and scientists understand that every there's so many invisible disabilities. So many people have. There's no perfect human. Everybody has something wrong with them.
And if they don't for a minute, there will be a complication in the next minute. Yeah.
A friend in Norway told me that the philosophy in Norway is that they love people with disabilities and they respect them because they understand that hopefully they get to be one someday. Like, hopefully they'll get old enough to be one. Maybe that was just him. Maybe it's not like a Norwegian, like, thing. But, like, he told me that. And it, like, really got to me because, like, that's such a cool way to look at it.
To me, I think that, like, what I wish in my fantasy world, the way I wish more people looked at folks with disabilities would be, like, I feel like disabled people are thinking about things from the perspective of a disabled person, or like looking to a disabled person. What am I trying to say? Like in terms of like design, for example, or like storytelling, or like how should we run our business? Like, I feel like if you start with a question and then you look to the disabled person as like the person to have in mind when you're designing something, I feel like that unlocks so much more. I guess I'm saying that, like, looking to a disabled person, body or mind, is a way of like unlocking things, unlocking different kinds of stories that need to be told, the different kinds of designs, different kinds of understandings about relationships. There's so much to be unlocked with that perspective. And so I guess, like, that's what I wish was recognized, as opposed to like pity or like, I hope that like avoidance or distance or anything like that. That's how I see it. That's maybe why I wish everyone saw it that way. That's how I see it.
But I think these conversations are good. Like, I don't consider myself very political because I'm not educated enough to be political. Like, I don't know the laws. I don't know what they're fighting for. I don't know. But I think people think a lot of shitty thoughts about us. And I think like I don't have the energy or the wealth or anything to go into politics and do that. But we can talk about it. And like,
yeah, totally.
Right? Like, that makes sense to me. I don't know.
Oh, completely. I feel very similar. I feel like like Judy Heumann is such a powerhouse, and
she's an all around. She can do it all. She philosophizes and politics.
Yes. And to me, I feel like my mind just doesn't keep up with that very well, and I like want there to be good things happening with legislation, but I don't know that I'm like very up to speed with it. But I think about it much more in terms of, like, to me, I think about so much in the terms of in like storytelling. Like, I feel like storytelling is the framework that I see everything through, and it feels like there are just really punishing, reductive stories being told and reinforced about disabled people that impact us in really real and maybe weird ways. You know, like the impact of that. I think that ultimately those stories make their way into politics. But to me, I'm just like so eager and desperate for us to get those stories mixed up a bit.
Like, you know, did you get so excited anytime? Like, I still do. Anytime I'm like, wait, that's a real cripple. They're like real on the TV.
Out in the world?
Yeah,
you mean?
In the world, but also in media and like, but definitely in the world. I'm like, when your friends are like the joke, like you all know each other and you're like, we joke about that, but we do give a head nod, right? Like, there is the head nod of like, I know you're having a rough day. It's all right. It's all right.
You know, that is so funny that you say that, because I feel like I try to give like a timid smile. There's this
subtle
part of me that's like, I don't want you to feel like just because we are both in these wheelchairs or we're both using these mobility aids or whatever it is, that we have to be friends. We don't. My smile's not too eager. It's just a smile.
Well, we need to unite, right? Like, we need to unite. Because that's the thing, right? We're all thinking this, like, well, just because you're in a wheelchair, I don't want to, it doesn't mean we're friends. But, like, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to be friends. I mean, we're friends, but I would think. But like,
we have to be friends.
We have to be. But But the random person on the street, it's that kind of like, hey, we're in it together type thing.
Like the solidarity.
Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
good. Like, I think I'll still do that.
Yeah, I think I was a little scarred. I went into the liquor store a few years ago, and there was a guy in a wheelchair, like a young man in a wheelchair that was like the person who was like I was asking questions to, like the worker at the store.
Oh, man.
And so we were like rolling down the aisle together, and I could tell that he was like super embarrassed. Or I don't know if I was projecting, but there was something about, it was like he really didn't want to make eye contact with me. He didn't want it to be a thing that we were like, I don't know. It felt like he didn't want us to he didn't want us to like.
He was probably going through it. He was probably not okay with it yet.
Yeah.
Because I think that's
probably what it was.
Because like, there's definitely people you meet and you're like you're not ready to be a cripple yet. Like you are. Like you're here. This doesn't change, but like they don't know it yet. They're still like they're still hoping for the cure, you know? Whatever that is.
Yeah, I think that's actually I like hardly have ever even talked about that moment before. It was like such a random tiny like thing that happened, but I think you're probably right. I think that's probably what was happening.
Cuz you'd gone through that already. You accepted it. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually really excited. Like, hey, look at you. We live on the same
That's
city.
so rad.
Yeah.
We can take over this town.
A little bit, though. You and me, babe. Yeah, I wonder if that scarred me a little bit in terms of like how I interact with other people now, like when I like strangers, but I don't know. But I think you're right. I think, you mentioned a while back about like, how when you're born into families that don't share your disability, that you are kind of left without the tools or community that like takes time to gather. And I think that is that's a big part, a big missing piece of what's needed is like that community needs to be easy to find.
And it's so hard to find that community that isn't, oh, this is not the right word, but isn't like...
I think I already know what you mean, though.
Yeah, but like, isn't like it's actually not just like organized by the local abled whatever that wants to do good, but like, no, organized by us.
Yes. Yeah.
With the intention of like, no, we're doing this not to do good, but to do.
Yeah, and like not patronizing, not appeasing, but like, to be a part of a group of people that are powerful and interesting and like want to rally together to make, I don't know, change.
But I think it's happening.
I do too, and it
on
seems
Instagram, oddly enough.
Just there. No, but it is. I do think that is a bit. I mean, like obviously, I'm in the middle of watching The Social Dilemma on Netflix, the documentary.
Yeah, everybody's telling me I have to watch it.
I don't know. I'm in the middle of it. It's very, but so I do recognize that like there are ways that social media has destroyed parts of humanity.
For sure.
But good grief, I think that it has like been a game changer.
Yeah, we would have never met.
For 100%.
Never.
No. I mean, like I'm just like thinking about all of the people I never would have met, or even just like the ideas I never would have seen.
And then, like, we're all, like, pushing each other, like, you and I were seeing Erin's post at the same time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And, like, she's so positive and, like, confident with her words.
Yes.
Like, so confident with her words. And I think that made me more confident in a way.
Completely. Yes. Yeah. Totally. With her words and with her body. Like, right? Like the way, all of it. She,
And she never writes like, and I'm not knocking people that do this. Erin's style to me was like, I'm sexy, period. Mm-hmm. Not like, I'm different and I'm sexy, or like, it's sexy that I'm different. She's just like, I'm sexy and I'm awesome, period.
Yeah, Erin is so interesting to me for lots of reasons, but she doesn't really talk. I mean, like the way she talks about disability is so in hand with so many other things. It's like not the focus, it's not in the forefront, but it's like a part of everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like she's not like the Instagram person or the writer who shows up to say like, now we're going to talk about disability,
No.
you know, like and it's really appealing. It's like something I want to be around.
Yeah. We're gonna have
Feels good.
We're gonna have to go do a show in Canada. You should come.
Yes.
Let's go meet Aaron.
I want to. I want to, and I want it to be I want it. Are you guys gonna do the road trip again? Like, is it gonna be like driving around?
Like the van's still alive, maybe, but yeah, we haven't driven
That's
it since COVID, so.
Hope you're doing all right, honey.
It's just chilling.
Road tripping is like my favorite way to go anywhere.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I like. Yeah, it would be fun. And Otto could be with us. I don't know why I keep thinking about like everything we want to do post COVID, and I'm like, and Otto.
Of course he's coming. No, he's got stuff to do. He has stuff to do.
He's got to see if he can get off work.
He's gonna be busy by then, you know.
Oh, but he's not like. It's funny because he was born during COVID, and so like. Yeah. We've never gotten to do like anything with him. Like he's just our little like secret baby that lives with us in the house that we're like nobody really sees him, and like I just like thinking about the things we'll get to do with him.
That's so fun.
When the world, I know.
He has a whole lifetime of that. You have a whole lifetime of that. It's magical. We just got all like ooh woo for a second. Is that the right word on Twitch? Ooh woo, maybe.
I don't know. Is that a Twitch word?
I don't know. It's like
or just an every people.
Just a word.
Woo.
One thing I wrote was I was thinking about and it's near the end of the book where you're like, there's somebody that runs up and goes, "You're gonna fall," and I just thought, like for a second when you said that, I wrote, "But don't I have a right to fall?"
Isn't it gonna be? Yes, that's the like. Eric, that's the end of the chapter where I do fall.
Yeah, I know, but like, and then your friend like laughs about it because it's like everybody falls all the time.
This is not the worst thing in the world. This is not the end. We don't need to live in terror of the fact that you might fall.
And the weird thing is, it's always you're gonna fall when you're doing something you can obviously do. But then like you go to some place and they're like, "It's up a flight of stairs. We'll carry you up," and it's like. But you're not gonna say you're gonna fall then? Like,
nobody's scared about
nobody's scared at all.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point. Yeah, I hope you don't fall now that my body is in your hands.
Yeah, it made me think about I think about this because I let my friends carry me around. People carry me around, but it's a lot easier to carry me around because I weigh 50 pounds. And I'm short.
Nice.
So
that is very handy.
But like you think about like how vulnerable you are, and sometimes you're just like, do I want to put myself in that vulnerable position right now?
Totally.
Like I'm
I've written about this. Like I wrote about this a long time ago. It was like one of the first things I started thinking about when I started like actually thinking about what the uniqueness of being a disabled person in the world is like. But like it is such an intimate thing to be carried by someone.
It is.
And it feels like either you're like their baby or you're their like bride that they're carrying over the threshold. You know, like it's like
have you ever been carried by somebody you knew was awkward? Like they were very nervous? Yeah.
Yes.
It's a weird feeling. It is. You're trying to reassure them, but you don't even really want them to carry you. At that point.
Oh my goodness. And your face is like right by their face.
And you're like it's gonna be okay.
or like just like singing softly in their ear a lullaby. I don't
I heard Mel laugh for that.
It's such a weird and like yes, and like sometimes it's like I don't have it in me to be carried by you or anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to go pee.
That's all.
And then I think about that, like I think that's such a tough thing because I read so many people and they're like, I want to be seen for my disability and like be treated like this. I'm like, I'm not even talking about feelings right now. I just want to be able to piss. That's it. Like,
Just the bare minimum.
let's start there. Or like, I want to be able to talk to the bank teller.
To be seen when I go into or a bar or or even like the doctor's office.
The doctor's office feels so weird. Yeah.
Of all places, I feel like maybe you should have thought about this. And I'm like, I'm having like a whole conversation with someone who's like taking my information who can't see me, and I'm like,
yeah. So, my favorite is no, I don't know where I was going. A friend of mine made me laugh in the chat because when we would go to concerts to go see a band and I couldn't fit in the bathroom, they would make a wall where we couldn't shut the door, so they would make a wall so nobody could see me.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm thinking, it's been so long since I left the house, I'm suddenly having like all these flashbacks to all of the bathrooms that I've tried to pee in over the years.
Yeah.
Like, or like, literally, I remember being at a wedding where I like just could not shut the bathroom stall, and so I just had to pee out in the open. Like, I'm just at a wedding of all places, just like, nobody mind me, I'm just in here.
I think that's where when I get people like, because I do burlesque, and when people are like, the confidence you have just to like be naked on stage, I'm like, you know how many people I peed in front of in my life because it wasn't accessible or whatever. Like, how many doctors and nurses have seen my body and like poked at it? Like, I don't know.
Just a room full of people staring at my naked body.
It is a weird feeling to have a room full of naked people. Well, they're not naked. You're naked.
Well, what doctor's offices are you going to?
Listen, it was a long time ago. No, like, where they're all, like, looking at you and you're like, I'm very vulnerable right now.
Oh, yeah. You know what's weird is I feel like being a mom and breastfeeding feels very similar to that, where, like, suddenly, like, I'm just, like, I'll just forget that like my boobs are out all afternoon, and then I'm like, oh,
that's kind of nice though. That's like,
it is.
It should be that way. We all have nipples, you know. It's fine.
And mine are doing a very specific job right now.
Yeah.
And it seems like why does that have to be? It's so exhausting. I've only tried it a couple of times because I've only had to like nurse with a blanket over the baby.
It's so
and
weird.
It's like the most awkward thing.
It seems awkward.
Yeah, it is. Anyways, nakedness.
Do you feel like...
Yeah.
I kept you long. I normally only go an hour, but we're like an hour 20.
Oh!
We just like flew by. I could go for like 4 more.
I know, same. We have to do it again. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, that's the good part. We gotta leave them hanging for more.
What's our cliffhanger gonna be?
Well, I thought about this. Not a cliffhanger, but an idea I had that I wrote at the end was like, your book made me so happy. And, like, feel like I related to it so much, right? And I think a lot of people do. But it also made me so incredibly angry. Like, not at you, obviously. Like, but angry that you have to go through it. But, like, I go through it. And we all do. It's just... But then you think, like, but we gotta stay positive. And it's like, you can be positive and angry at the same time.
Completely.
I'm positively angry.
I think it's actually, like, positively angry. I think it's actually, like, a really important combination, like, to hold on to both. I think together that is, I agree. I think you can totally be both. Because you're right. It's, like, it's infuriating, the way that people are treated and thought of. It's infuriating, and it's part of what makes it infuriating is it's like, to me, well, there's many reasons why it's infuriating, but part of it is it's like, it's so stupid. I think that's part of it to me. It's so stupid. It's so ignorant. It's so thoughtless. It's like, there's a part of me that just really gets frustrated when I think, it must be part of my personality, when I'm like, but just like stop and think about this for a minute.
Just for a second. That's it.
For a second. Just think about this
People
for a second.
People have no empathy. It makes you realize how little they do.
Yeah. Or imagination, or curiosity, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that I feel like I value pretty highly. So there comes the anger.
But I get angry,
also,
I get angry with, like, I don't think I've ever gotten angry at a little kid that asks me a question. Like, that's the
yeah.
coolest thing in the world. But have you had where the parent goes, don't ask that? And you're like,
Oh
you're
yeah.
obviously, like, I'm mad at you now. You're doing bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, it makes me so happy when parents don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you had that where like
Mm-hmm.
the kid asks and the parent is
And they
just
can ask
like,
the most inappropriate thing. Like, they're a kid, they don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Nothing a child says to me is gonna really upset me that much.
not at all. I mean, even staring is like, um, somehow, uh,
They're just
even almost
curious.
charming. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mel reminded me, the first time I met one of her nieces, I was visiting Mel out in Missouri, and, we went to, go get ice cream, I think, and, she had to be like 6 or something, and she was like, we were sitting there, and she was like, Eric, you look weird. And everybody got dead quiet, so quiet. And her mom was like, Mel's mom was like, honey, why do you think he looks weird? And she was like, he doesn't have his glasses on. And like that's literally what she just like.
Oh, I loved that.
And it was so good, like how uncomfortable she made them.
Yeah.
And like I knew it was gonna be
Everybody-
something silly.
Like I can't see his butt.
Yeah, exactly, because they're kids. That's how it is. They don't
Yeah.
have this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. All the baggage, all the
Yeah.
stories, made up stories about what this should mean. Yeah.
I think the thing we were talking about, like what after this, what changes, and I think we should do things like this. Like, have you ever been offered a speaking arrangement? Like I've turned one of these down before, like a big like goes talk to a college type thing. Like
Yes.
we know people that do them, and I think a lot of times they're very like inspirationally, and I think that's
Yeah.
great. I think it's great. Whatever, they're making money. That's good. But we gotta do stuff like this and like
Yeah.
make it uncomfortable and see how many times we can say cripple. Like-
Well, I think what I like about it is just like it's like, to me, when we're talking, you are my audience and I'm your audience. Like
Yeah.
we're like,
It's
there's
just a
something,
conversation.
it's sort of like, I'm not having to explain anything or like filter anything for someone who might not be inside and understand. It's just like, we get to talk about things in a way that is so honest and bare. And
Yeah.
I think like because of that, it's really special and powerful.
And that's what made me think, like, we have, like, literally before the camera started, we were having conversations just like this. Like,
Yeah.
like we have these conversations, and we, at one point I was just like, we should have these in front of people. Like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
need
I
to
don't know what
hear
it
this.
means. I don't know what it means to other people. I hope it means something good. It means a
Yeah.
lot to me.
Me too.
It's really fun for me.
Yeah.
I feel like energized and fortified, and I don't know. I like talking to you, Eric.
I like talking to you. It's been really fun. This went
Yeah.
so fast.
I know.
We're gonna have to do it
So
soon. We'll do it in like a month or two. Like, we're not gonna wait.
Okay.
We'll do it soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it soon.
Yes. I need to go feed my baby.
Yeah, do that. Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute.
I think so too.
But thanks for coming.
really do.
If you're here, go check out Rebekah's book. It's awesome. You should read it or listen to it. It's on Audible. So if you like, even you get a free book with Audible if you sign up. You just
That's
listen to
true.
it. It's free. Just listen to it. You get money from it too from plays. I know how that works.
I loved recording it. It was so special for me to record it. So
It
I
helped
really
me
like
that
it
you
when
read it. It helped me that you read it.
Can you imagine if someone else would have read it?
Oh,
how
it would have
weird
felt
that'd
so
be?
awkward. Who's this
No,
person
no.
telling me this?
Ugh. I don't think I could have ever listened to it. I still haven't listened to it, but I really enjoyed recording it.
That's
It was
awesome.
fun for me.
I enjoyed listening to it. I'll talk to you soon. We'll like talk in a couple days.
Yeah, we'll be spying on you as you're live streaming and stuff, anyways. So.
Aw, well, thanks for
We'll
hanging
see you.
out.
Yes, thanks for having me. It was the blast. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Hi. That was the third episode of CripTalk. I hope you had a great time. I had a really good time. I gotta drop this book on the ground because I have to click things. But I hope you all had a really good time. I had a great time. Rebekah and I could have talked for like 5 more hours, like no joke, and not ran out of things to say. So we'll have to do it again real soon. I don't normally do this at the end. Oh, I gotta think. A couple things happen. Cactus Water, thank you for the follow. Y3A, thank you for the follow. Mel, thanks for the sub. We're gonna raid somebody because actually there's a concert happening. Is it not? Am I wrong? There's supposed to be a concert happening. It's in Minecraft. But it's like there's disabled people performing at it. What? Where is this? What was it called? Netherrad, I think. Netherrap, I think it was called. And I'll look and see if they're live, but we'll raid them. Where is this? Yeah, Netherrap. But, it's, why can't I find this? Alright, maybe they're not live. I followed them, hoping they would be. But it doesn't look like they are. Yeah, you guys farmed the OKs. Hold on, let me scroll. Maybe I'm just missing it. I don't see it. So I don't think we're gonna raid them. Because I can't find it. Wait, maybe it has a lot more viewers and I'm like scrolled to the bottom. Oh, I found it! Look at me. Look at me. Farm the OKs. Farm the OKs. You guys rock. Thanks for coming to CripTalk. There's a new song. I didn't click go. Alright, here we go. So there's a concert that's happening in Minecraft. And actually, I think the band that's about to go live is called Wheelchair Sports Camp. And they, it's like a rap rock group. And their lead singer has brittle bones. And they're epic. So go check them out. Thanks for coming to CripTalk. I'll be playing Minecraft tomorrow. See you then. Bye.
Catered to Phoenix, competing in the Scribble Jam MC Battle Championships and taking an early exit, ran almost quit before he even started, when a creative lightning bolt struck and a fire was lit. Ran's music and story have